So this is Divios's message to PA manifesto about PvP. And again, Divios is threatening to quit PvP. Well, he's not threatening. He said he was going to quit soon on stream. So this is serious, right? Like we did an intro on Divios earlier. He's the best PvPer that we've ever seen in the space. He's won every single major PvP tournament in the last 3 years. He has never taken an L in the tournament scene. An absolute specimen, and he's a top-ranked AOS player when he chooses to play AOS. He's also in the best guild in the world. So like the guy, and he won the BDO community award for the best PvPer, right? The best all-around PvPer. So let's see what I think his argument is relevant. So let's see what he has to say here. I would like to preface this by saying, hey, my name is Divios. I've been playing BDO for 8 years and have 45,000 hours played as of the time of posting. I've won every single tournament run by Perlibus since taking over. They're publishing from Cacao. Yeah, and here's all, like, again, best in class striker, best in class trial striker, Tuvala Cup, best in guild 2021, Solare Invitational, TwitchCon San Diego, best in guild 2022, best in guild 2023. The first tournament was done on Succession Striker. Most recent was done on, so he's done it on multiple classes too. These are his credentials. These are his credentials. Okay. He's talking about the global lab patch. We have no idea. These global lab notes read as, we have no idea what to do for PvP. Good luck. Option 1. Non-grabs get flame tower shots. That is one way of putting it. For those of you that don't know, flame towers can CC people even when you're standing in full protection, whether it be frontal guard or super armor. Option 1 on the global labs says that they want to introduce skills that can kind of reach through protections. But like, more importantly, they were going to add gaps to protections as well. Option 2, be ranged or the fastest classes possible available. So option 2 on the global labs was to turn super armors into frontal guards on a lot of classes. Obviously, this favors range, who can just break frontal guards instantly, and then you have nothing to do against them. And it favors classes that can get behind you very fast, like Ninja and Sork, right? So, and 3, everyone gets everything. So when he says everything, everyone gets everything, understand that option 3 was, okay, we're going to give everyone all the protections that we had already proposed on the global labs, and we're going to give all classes grabs, but we're going to nerf mobility on some of the classes. Okay, everyone gets everything. Given the options we saw, this is what I've read from that. These are not unfair statements. These are right on. Option 1 seems quite vague with the English translation. I agree. It's tough to know exactly what they mean. With option 1, I'm optimistic though. But everything we've seen about something that beats super armor that isn't a grab is a miserable mechanic everyone hates even more than ever they ever could with grabs. That is true. Knocking them out of super armors, I could have sworn that the translation meant that you would be able to knock people out of frontal guards. Or like it would go through frontal guards. But if this is true and it would go through SA2 or super armor 2, he's not wrong. Like when you guys get CC'd by your dark rifts and you're standing in super armor, that's frustrating, right? When you get CC'd by a flame tower and you're in a full protection, that's annoying, right? Option 2, in a perfect world where every change is nice, this could be awesome. However, even the slightest missteps with this one plunges further into a route that the game has currently taken, which, as stated above, is range classes or be so fast no one sees you coming to counter it. Yep. I completely agree with this. Completely agree with this. Option 3 just sounds terrible or even more of a balancing mess than anything. Yeah, I think everyone can agree. Option 3 is just, you can't do that. Of all the changes provided, at least the changes we saw last week were a decent band-aid for large-scale fights that would have done what we asked. Wow, he's actually supporting the changes last week. Obviously, it's not a perfect change either, but these 3 options, we have no real winners. Balance requires give and take. There is no such thing as a true balance, but you need to have both buffs and nerfs. Yeah, we've been saying this for a while. They need to buff as well as nerf classes. Without one, there is no chance of balance, and such is an arms race to the top. So yeah, essentially there's always going to be one class that's stronger than everyone else, then they're going to buff everyone up, and then one class is going to get stronger again, and you're going to keep buffing, and there's this like snowball effect that happens. You must nerf classes, not only buff. I completely agree with this take. We've been saying this forever. They're just so afraid. They're so afraid. Every couple of weeks, nerf top 2 to 3, buff the top 2 to 3, full reworks. Do not allow for any form of feedback in the short term. So full reworks do not allow for any term of feedback in the short term. That's fair, but like, I don't know about every couple of weeks, but like they should just definitely start nerfing. Buff the bottom 2 to 3, nerf the top 2 to 3. I think that's fair. That's a fair system. If they were willing to do that, I'd be happy about that. Every change that goes through with the rework has 0 form of testing available to be done. Yeah, because they didn't listen to it. But like if they did a rework and they actually listened to feedback, I think that reworks are viable. The problem is they just don't listen and they don't allow for testing. This is due to the global lab being a very weak place to test things. Exactly. It is insanely difficult to imagine a world with all these things coming true at once and cannot be tested with just a few people on the global labs. I would agree. If they make the global lab a better place to test things, then yeah, you can rework classes. Yeah, playtests? Yeah, exactly. Playtest? It is okay, Perlibus. Classes can have their own... I'm sorry, he's yelling. It is okay, Perlibus. Classes can have their own strengths and weaknesses. Not every class can or will be viable in everything. You cannot buff or change classes enough to make them good at everything. Between Awakening and Succession, you can differentiate them more. Ranger and Lahn are perfect examples of a well-designed difference between Awakening and Succession. In Nodewars, you can take the bottom 30% of classes, give them 4 pure Blackstones permanently, and they would not perform as well as the top classes in Nodewars. Look, I mean, if you're going to put it in all caps, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what changes you make to these classes, they should not be as strong in these situations. Every change almost ever has made to Nodewars has resulted in a format where you PvP less and play more for structures, cannons, elephants, ogres, castles, gates, and more. These are the advertised pinnacle of the Black Desert PvP, and the most effective way to play ends up being actually PvPing for 15 to 20% of the war due to the strength of these structures. Many people every war are relegated to not play the character they have been grinding and practicing on for thousands upon thousands of hours. Instead, stand still and press spacebar when they come near. Okay, so I disagree with the fundamental end of the post. See, I used to say this too. And I'll get to that in a moment. I would agree with, like, the bottom 30% of classes in Nodewars are dog shit. However, I think that it's like that for a reason. I think that, like, some classes are good at 1v1, 3v3. I think that other classes are just not good at those things, and it is what it is. But, like, they need to make sure that some of the classes, like Awakening Witch, are actually good at least one of the things. Yeah, I would agree that, like, if they're gonna... So the problem here is that we don't know what they want to do. If they want to balance around Nodewars, then what Divios is saying is absolutely correct. This is ridiculous that for the bottom 30% of classes, you could give them 4 pure Blackstones permanently and they would still underperform, right? Like, I think he's right about that. But, like, if they're balancing around AOS, then this doesn't really matter as much, right? Like, they need to tell us what they want to balance around, and I thought it was AOS, but then they wanted to come out with this big patch for Nodewars. Like, it's very strange. They said that all of these PvP changes were for Nodewars. So, like, are you balancing around Nodewars or AOS? Which is it? Because you can't do both. It is what it is. Now, he says that most of Black Desert's large-scale PvP is inting on structures. Maybe if you're in a low-end guild, but I don't feel that Cho ints on structures very often. Am I crazy? I do not feel that in large-scale PvP, the best guilds int on structures very frequently. I know Barcode doesn't, Corrupt doesn't, Digital doesn't, Cho Nation doesn't. Like you int on structures sometimes, absolutely, but like maybe 15% of the time. I would flip it. I would say that you're PvPing for most of it. Now, he also says, and this is the part that I disagree with, players like should get to play the class that they've been grinding for thousands and thousands of hours, and that's true for most people. But there are other people that want to participate in large-scale PvP that aren't good at their class, or that haven't been grinding for or practicing for thousands and thousands of hours. Those people play cannons. Those people play elephant driving. Those people play defense, right? Those people are still those people are still useful in the Node War setting, right? So like, and I think that like if you took away defense, you took away cannons, you took away Ellie's, I think that those people would not make it into siege guilds. They wouldn't get to be a part of those communities anymore. And I think that that would be unfair to those people, because some of the smartest players that play this game play cannons. Like I can think of like 3 great cannoneers right off the top of my head that are just brilliantly smart players. Maybe they're not as good as Ham 454 or Choice, but like they're good players, you know. But like they play a class that admittedly isn't the best in the offense ball, and they still want to contribute to Nodewar on their class. So like if they're playing Lahn, for example, they can still contribute in a meaningful way with cannons and defense and stuff. So I would agree that we should not push too far on this. That we shouldn't push too hard into allowing like pushing people to have mechanics that don't allow them to play their class, but also there should be like a little bit of an avenue there for people that want to be a part of a PvP community, but maybe they don't have the quickest hands, or maybe they're not playing the best class. You know what I mean? Quincy says the problem with BDO is the game is harder to balance than the majority of games. You've got 20 plus different classes. All 3 have 2 specs, totaling around 40-ish different specs. 40-ish different specs. It's over 50, bro. What kind of fucking math is that? It's like 26 classes. Math is hard for ducks. You got 1v1, large scale capped. Oh yeah, large scale uncapped, AOS T1, T2, open world. Yeah, I know. I get it. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to balance, but like it's doable. It's the idea is not to achieve full balance. The idea is to shake things up and then bring things into a range, and then shake things up and then bring things into a range. Who wrote this? This is Divios. Okay, Solare. This is Arena of Solare, guys. In Solare, you can give classes like Suck Ranger and Archer 30 billion damage on every button and make them run across render with every skill. Without major reworks, these classes will not be good in Solare. Okay, no, if you did this, they would be the best classes in Solare. He's exaggerating, but he's saying, nor should they be the best classes. Making each spec good at everything is just not possible. I agree, that's what I was saying before. And trying to do these things just pushes balance in other forms even further away. Certain map mechanics are just too powerful. I strongly believe that these map mechanics should be a thing. However, they should be decided near the end of the round or be much less impactful. Having to deal with map mechanics from 30 seconds into the match is insane. Delay the mechanics until further into the match as a deciding factor in a close fight, or reduce their strength to be more of a nice boost instead of an instant win. Each season of Solare has gotten worse with the addition of Peaceful Vagabond Earrings, Missing Captain's Crystal, Sail, Stormy Eye Belt, Time Spirit Crystal, Perforation, and the most recent Forest Ranaros Rings. Peaceful Vagabond Earrings allow for the absurd Black Spirit Rage regeneration and turn the match into stalling for more rage and making fights very ultimate centered, where you just run around and look for a good ult. This, combined with the 60 seconds of 30 AP and 25% attack speed buff, means even a bad ult is still huge for a fight, as 60 seconds as you have 60 seconds still to capitalize on it. Sail crystals take what I said about resistances to have into an even further state, due to the fact you can you have even less ignore resist inside Arena of Solare, and the fact that the damage is much lower, so you need to combo people to kill in most situations. The Stormy Eye Belt and Forest Ranaros Rings random hybrid options that are random hybrid options that are no-brainer for 90% of situations. You will almost always use these. Perforation crystals giving attack speed makes your gameplay in Solare feel very different from your character outside of it. 10% was obviously too much, but 6% is still a lot. Okay. I would generally agree resistances are a serious problem in Solare. Oh, okay. I would agree that resistances are a serious problem in Solare. Completely agree with this. I also completely agree with this first statement, which I think is the most important one, is that some classes are just not going to be good at some aspects of the game, which makes balancing really hard. Because what are you balancing around? If you're balancing around Solare, well, then everyone has to be good at Solare. If you're trying to balance around everything, I don't even know if that's even possible. I think that you have to take each class individual and be like, okay, this class is going to be really good at this thing, and then they're going to be medium good at this thing, and then they're going to be really bad at this thing, right? That no one should be bad or good at all 3 things, necessarily speaking. So like, but it's a tough situation. As far as resistances go, I have to agree with him. Also, this I hate. Most of the map mechanics are so annoying, especially the stage where it like pulses with like a red, there's like a red circle and it pulses and you take like half your health and lose your frontal guard like instantly in like the first 10 seconds of the match. Is so annoying. It's really frustrating. I completely agree with the map mechanic thing. Like, sure, you can have map mechanics to help decide close fights, exactly like he said. I think he articulated it well. But when you start the map, dude, it should just be about who's the better players, man. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, my frontal guard disappeared right before the Lahn landed 10 seconds in, so I guess I just die. Like, it is what it is. Like, I would agree with him on most of that. Absolutely. 1v1. Has not and will not ever be balanced and has not been competitive for about 5 years. True. The only form of 1v1 that has ever mattered is the best in class tournament, and that doesn't matter what classes you change due to them being the same class. Exactly. Exactly. Well said. No one gives a shit about 1v1s. It's an MMO. Gearcaps and game modes. I'm curious what he has to say about the capped game modes as a Cho Nation player here. In Black Desert, there are many forms of PvE and PvP alike that are capped and uncapped, or capped or uncapped. Right now, we have one big issue, that there are way too many caps in the game mode, way too many caps / game modes that make your character feel way too different / damage too different from each other. Some classes, okay, so he's saying that there are too many caps in game modes, or there's too many. Okay, I'll just reread it. Right now, we have one big issue, is that there's way too many caps / game modes that make your character feel too different / damage too different from each other. So his argument here is that there's just too many different caps that make your class do different amounts of damage each time. This includes RBF Valencia, RBF Castle Ruins, RBF Garma, T1 Nodewars, Tier 2 Nodewars, Tier 3 Nodewars, etc., Tier 4, Tier 5, Medaya Cap Siege, Balanos Siege, Uncapped Siege, Trial Gear, Season Characters, Arena of Solare. Okay, when he puts it that way, I would agree. But like, I think that T1 through T5 Nodewars are probably fine, the way that they're capped. Balanos and Medaya Siege are actually should be equivalent to one of the two caps here, Tier 3 and Tier 4 probably. You could condense these.
Just gifted 20 subs.
Arena of Solare has the best caps in my opinion. Having this many caps means it's impossible to balance because things may vary a lot in these different caps. Not wrong. Some classes do a lot more or less damage depending on the cap. Some places like Arena of Solare / Arena of Arsha, you have a massive attack speed difference, meaning you have different combos as a whole to play the class differently. A core part of learning PvP in video games is knowing how much damage you can do / take in certain situations, and with ever-changing caps and so many caps, you can't learn to do this. I agree. They should condense it. I think that T1 should probably have the same cap. I think having two different caps in T1s is stupid. A Tuvala player on day 2 could play in a Tier 2 node where and meet the caps. Just make them the same. You could combine these and make these the same. T3, T4, T5, I think have the same caps. Are fine caps. Medaya should be Tier 3 caps. Balanos should be... Oh, wait, no. Medaya should be Tier 4 caps. Balanos should be Tier 2 caps. That condenses the caps even further. Uncapped Siege. Okay, yeah, that's whatever. Trial character should be probably... It should just match the stats in Tier 3 Nodewars or something. Or... It should match the stats in T1 Nodewars. Like Tuvala gear, basically. Season characters... Again, you should just match the cap to... Pen Tuvala should match the caps for Tier 1 Nodewars. Again, that condenses them. Arena of Solare. Arena of Solare almost kind of has to be its own cap. Maybe you could make it Tier 4 caps in Arena of Solare are the same. You could do that. You could condense it even further. But like, yeah, I would agree with his sentiment that you really can't learn your class as effectively as you might want to as a very competitive player if you can't figure out how much damage your class does. T1 is okay in Tuvala gear, but you should push for 260 AP for it. It's not really gonna matter. I don't think. Like T1s, the biggest difference in T1s is having elixirs or not having elixirs. And again, they should just make elixirs not work in T1s. Again, they need to do their best to eliminate veteran players from playing T1 Nodewars, unless they're leading a guild and like trying to teach new players. Like they just need to eliminate veteran players just staying in T1s and shitting on the little guy forever. Like, it's just the way that it is. To remedy this, I would make all forms of PvP either capped or uncapped, and you put on one set of gear, much like Solare. Ooh. Interesting proposition. So they give you a different set of gear. Like the game would give you the gear you need.
Mate Steve's 10 just subscribe.
I don't think you could do that, because see, then everybody in the top tier Siege guilds is going to make a bunch of alts, get gifted the gear that they need, and then they're just going to go play in other guilds on their alt accounts. And I don't know. I think that would kind of kill PvP. So as long as you gated the game giving you that capped gear behind like a major, like you have to finish all of your adventure logs, every single adventure log. If you finish all of the adventure logs, you get a capped set of gear and you can do or something like that. I don't know. Like it would be really tough to do that and try to minimize the amount of players making alt accounts like that. Yeah, I don't know, man. This sounds like a good idea on paper, but like I just see this as people exploiting this. You know what I mean? I think we permaban all Cho players. Solves the problem. Then the Cho Nation players become... Well, you understand that those Cho Nation players are just going to go make another Cho Nation because they have capped gear again. I know you're memeing, though. Yeah, I just don't know. I think giving everyone capped gear is a great idea on paper. Too easily exploitable. It's the reason that people can go participate in other regions' Arena of Solare, and like just dominate multi-region Arena of Solare, which I think is a little ridiculous. Like it's a little annoying. What do I mean? What do I mean by that? Well, let's show you. All right, so the reason that I hate it when other people participate in other regions' AOS is this right here. Piss low region. I just don't like that. I don't like that attitude. Also, you're also number 4. You're fucking dog shit, kid. I just don't like them doing that. So, like, I don't know. You put one set of gear like Solare. You could take away... He's right. If you did this, you could take away T1, T2, T3, and T4 Nodewars. You could just make everything, you just combine everything and make it one cap. And make it Solare gear. But, like, then you have guilds that are, again, like, everyone's just going to make alt accounts and play in everybody's guild. And then we have no idea how strong guilds actually are. It's just, I don't know, man. It's kind of sketchy, dude. It's a great idea, though, if they could implement it correctly. That's a reign of terror. Yeah. Following is specific venting talking about specific aspects of PvP. Less important to read, but if you'd like to read about any of those specific things, let me know. All right, it's down below. Okay, I'll read some of this. I'm obviously not going to be able to go through the whole document, but I'll read some of this. Resistances. I'm curious what his take is here. Resistances has and always will be the crutch that allows random and uncounterable things to happen in PvP. Ignore resist options are terrible and unfair. Every ignore resist crystal should be buffed outside of Elcar, as they are almost never used and nearly impossible to slot in. Building the ignore resist ends up being nothing versus anyone, and having it and being ruptured versus anything. Okay, so he just hates resist. I would agree. I would agree. Like I think like his solution is not to remove resists from the game, which is what most people would say. He is saying you just need to buff ignore resists really hard and make them actual like crystals that you can use, which is not a bad option. Ignore resist options, much like accuracy, need to be stronger than their counterparts, as building evasion / resist is effective for you versus everybody. Whereas building ignore resist accuracy is only useful versus the people with it. True. In other words, if you build ignore resist and a bunch of accuracy and somebody's just a DR build with absolutely no resistances, you're not going to be able to kill them. Right? Final thought on resist should be PvE only stat, and combined with the monster debuff resistance like Elixir, we can more easily reach 100% resist depending on the grind spot you go to. I actually like that. if you make resists only PvE oriented and then allow us to hit 100% resists more frequently, then you don't even need to add frontal guards or super armors to the game. I think that solves 2 birds, 1 stone. Just allow players to be able to hit 100% resist with their PvE crystal setups. Done. I like it. I like it. I don't know, I'm a more casual player, and all the free gear people get now, it just feels like all the progress I've made over the years has been for nothing. Well, Beetle Fox, that's true, but there would also be uncapped that you could do as well. I like their scaling cap system, but I would agree that they need to have less caps. As far as the resistances go, I actually like this idea for like the PvE only like aspect of crystals. Ignore resist being buffed is like a band-aid fix aside from just removing resist from PvP and buffing Corsair and Wizard Witch. Like Wizard Witch and Succession Corsair particularly would need a serious buff if you're going to remove resist from the game, because their passive revolves around resistances. But like, I think that's totally doable. I think they should just remove resist for PvP. I like keeping it in PvE though. Then you don't even have to add protections for PvE like they keep trying to insist that they need to. I like that. Healing. Heals in Black Desert are most insanely unbalanced thing I've seen in any game ever. I would expect a Cho Nation player to say that, yes. Classes either heal basically 0 and rely on 275 HP per second health potions, or they nearly instantly full heal their HP. Drakania! Every class needs to have a way to exit combat and heal themselves up to at least a good chunk of to get back in the fight. HP bots have remained 275 from 2017, and when we had 2500 to 3500 max HP. Now we have over 10k. He's right. That's actually true. He missed his own class. He plays Sage. Sage doesn't have healing. Sage is dead. Sage's healing is the whale tendon pot that you have on 7. Awakening Sage? No, he plays Succession Sage. He plays Suck Sage. Sage heals? Get the fuck out of here. Fuck me. It technically heals. It has 2 abilities. Bro, look at Awakening Drakania. Look at Awakening Drakania and tell me that Sage has a comparable heal. Bro, the class just keeps going back to full health. I've killed it like 4 times. You gotta hit people to heal and it's laughable. Exactly. So you can't, it's not actually a functional like usage of a heal, right? Like, because typically when you get low on health, you need to run away. Not try to hit them and, oh, I got 1000 HP back. I'm still dead because I stayed in the fight like an idiot. Doesn't make any sense. I honestly think that healing in overall in BDO is actually not that bad. I think that healing, I would disagree with him on this. Just because I think that healing on some class, it is the way that it is for a reason. Like Lahn, if Lahn got a bunch of HP regeneration in their like standard combo that allowed them to heal back to full health, we'd never be able to kill the fucking bitch. You know what I mean? I think that certain classes being able to heal others really hard is important. Also, I think that frontline tanks need heals because tanking is a joke in BDO unless you have a massive amount of regeneration, like a Succession Drakania. This is the link. Yeah, here's the link to the doc here. So like, I think that frontline classes having a lot of heals is good. I think that Wizard, Witch, Valkyrie, Shai having heals is good. I think their healing is in a fine spot. I think that they should just rip heals away from all of the other flanking assassin classes in the game. Awakening Drakania should be stripped of almost all of her healing entirely, and completely, and totalitarianly. Like that class should not be able to heal back to full class like that, or full health like that, especially when it can engage and disengage the way that it can. What other classes are really good at healing that are like flanking assassins? I think Succession Drakania having healing is fine. I think that Succession Nova needs healing, like a lot of healing. Like Succession Nova should get a lot of regeneration on its class, like for sure. I think Berserker is totally fine with the healing that it has. Succession Meiwa, does Suck Meiwa have a big heal? Lifesteal and burst heal on demand are two totally different things. Yes, that's actually an important distinction I should make. So if it's lifesteal, and by lifesteal I mean you have to hit other players to get your health back, that's fine in a lot of cases, as long as it's not overwhelming like in Awakening Drakania's case. Like you getting a little bit of health back for hitting people is okay. And having a flash heal where you can disengage combat, get all of your health back within 1 or 2 skills, and then re-engage again is ridiculous. Warrior needs a heal. I would agree. I would agree with that. I do disagree with the healing. I think the healing is actually in a fine spot. I think that they give assassins too much lifesteal and too much healing. I think a frontline tank should get more healing. Guardian, for example, has a lot of healing. She should have more. She should rival what Drakania has. Any frontline class in the game should have a fair amount of healing. The Hammer class is really going to struggle in large scale until she has sustain. She needs to be able to lifesteal. Like, she has to be able to get her health back. Like, she needs to be able to do stand and get her health back, and she needs lifesteal. Guardian has a lot of, like, Awakening Guardian has a lot of lifesteal on her. Guardian dies while standing still. I know. That's why it needs more sustain. Succession Drakania doesn't, though, because it's got a PA it can use in the middle of the fight. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I actually think that more classes should be like Succession Drakania. Like, more frontline classes should be able to stay in the fight for longer instead of just getting bursted down and have to leave. Okay, slows. Some slows in this game are just added on random abilities that are already fast, high damage, super armor skills with just basic ability rotations. No slow abilities should be massive AoEs without being a very long cooldown or an ultimate. Every slow should be thought out, and no slow should require very precise timing through plays and last over 10 seconds. I would generally agree, but not really. I think that there are some classes that play really slowly, like Guardian. Guardian is, like, needs that slow passive or she's irrelevant. She has to slow people down, or she's basically completely irrelevant in basically all forms of PvP. So, like, regardless of the AoE necessarily on Guardian's skill, she basically needs that. I would agree that taking slows off of classes that don't need it, like this precise timing slows, like what Ninja has and stuff, yeah, you just remove all that. Yeah, fuck all that. These slows are too powerful. Include Awakening Berserker, yep. Awakening Hash and Staring Sand, Awakening Musa, yep. Succession Wizard. I think that slows are fundamentally important to Suck Wizard's kit. I would agree it makes it unfun to play against, but, like, that's part of playing against Suck Wizard. Prime Residual Lightning, come, okay. Mystics, Wave Orb, nah, dude, that one's fine. You can't, nah. Guardian, Dragon's Calling, no, I think that's okay. Nova's Blooming Icy Thorn and Strangle Icy Thorns, sure. That's fine, although I think that Nova's typically okay. It's like the least one that I would look at. Awakening Sage. Shock effect on impaling. Yeah, remove that. Remove all of that. Corsair, Mareka, Jetstream, Awakening, Drakania, Dragonblood, Sundering Roar. Agree all of that. I agree with most of this. Again, you should just remove slows from classes for the sake of them having slows in their kit. Obnoxious. I agree. I think that frontline classes should be slow oriented, and then I think that backline classes should have, maybe you do nerf Awaken, or I mean Succession Wizard and Witch. I'd be okay with that. Sure, but then you can't stop the frontline classes from getting near you, so, like, maybe just tone it down, but you still let them have the slow. Why is my Sage catching strays? Because it needs to be nerfed into the ground. Movement. Over the past 2 years, the movement creep has gotten ridiculous. This, combined with the damage protection increase, have made the damage/protection increases that have made both large-scale and even small-scale 10v10-ish fights really unfun as a class that hasn't gotten one of these insane movement buffs. True, like Awakening Witch. Classes that have way too much movement are as follows. Awakening Drakania, yes. Awakening Nova, yes. Succession Berserker, yes. Awakening Valkyrie, yes. Succession Ninja. Yes. Succession DK. I don't know about Suck DK. I don't know about Suck DK. I think Suck DK is like, bro, that class dashes like 4 times and like it's usually like they've got an inhaler with them, you know what I mean? Valkyrie? Yeah, Valkyrie can catch up to people very, very quickly, like no matter what they do. It's gotten a little ridiculous. The Hostiludium is just obnoxious. Like, I will say that when you're running around when you're running around in like an offense ball in large scale, okay, yeah, Valkyrie's gonna struggle to keep up. But in most combat situation, Valkyrie's movement is really solid. Moose is not on there. Yeah, Moose has got trade-offs for its movement. It's not as bad. I cannot stress this enough. Mewa and Musa are not anywhere near the pinnacle of speed nowadays, and you need to stop talking to us as if these classes are just so fast. He actually just fucking destroyed the Brownie. Just got fucking destroyed. Brownie just got fucking annihilated. Holy shit. Yeah, like these classes are ridiculously too fast, especially classes like Awakening Nova and Awakening Drakania. They're just way too quick for the other classes to keep up with. You're talking about like the slow classes, like even Mewa and Musa look slow compared to Awakening Nova and Awakening Drakania. They look slow. You can actually see them before they hit you. Like, imagine, right? Like Awakening Witch and Wizard are molasses compared to this shit. Moose is pretty fast. It is, but like you can still see it coming though. A Drakania, I'm not joking. If you are not watching your mini map because you won't be able to see them, you're not going to see the Drakania coming. You're just dead. Like that bitch flies in so quickly, you're just dead. Awakening Nova is even faster. You blink and miss it. You're just dead. Like, buff Awakening Wiz, we need to move too. I think split teleport for both Awakening and for both Awakening Wizard and Awakening Witch is warranted and has been for a long time. Why the fuck don't they have split teleport? It's ridiculous. Am I wrong? This movement creep has forced the hand to increase the movement of range classes as their range capabilities in smaller and even larger fights has been diminished over time. These classes are Succession Ranger, Awakening Berserker, Archer, Succession Witch, and Succession Wizard. Because of these fixes for the movement increase, now all of the classes that have gotten a speed buff cannot catch up. Now all of the classes that have not gotten a speed buff cannot catch up to these classes in any reasonable time frame. Agree? Allowing them as range classes to outrange me and stay away from me forever while also throwing damage and CC back at me. Okay, well, if you're talking about Succession Sage, no, you cannot allow Succession Sage to constantly catch up to everyone. It's just not the way that it works. Part of Succession Sage's kit means you have to sneak up on them. It is what it is. You cannot complain about this, because if you allowed Succession Sage to have the movement to catch up to everyone, he would just out damage everyone. He would just immediately fucking destroy every other class in the game in damage because he can get on top of them. He doesn't even need to CC them. Is what it is. Not quite a few classes. What's up, Divios? How you doing, man? If you want to get in voice, we can talk about it, Divios. When I finally came to try and escape, they can always range and chase me down. That is true. I will say that there is a thread of truth to what he's saying here. Ranged classes definitely have too much protection and too much movement. It's very difficult to run them down. If you ever tried to run Details down, it just doesn't work. If you ever tried to catch Huntler, it just doesn't work. Like, some of these classes just have too much movement. Now, for Succession Sage, it's like, all right, well, bro, you can't let him get on top of you because he's just gonna kill you. You did. But like, on general, I would agree with this. Like, you should not be able to outrun a warrior, or any of the frontline class, like, with them running at you forever. They just can't ever catch you for any reason. You just keep TPing away. That's what I'm learning on Succession staff, is you just keep TPing away from them. You just keep moving away from them. There's nothing you can do, they can really do about it. It's part of the fundamental playstyle of the class. Some classes are balanced around, okay, if they can get on top of you, then you are dead. Can't voice right now, but I'm listening. Okay. Damage in Black Desert is not easy to balance with simple numbers. Oh, I'm so curious what he's going to say about damage. Some people have strong opinions on this, and I also have a strong opinion on it, but it doesn't necessarily match what everyone else says. As much as you want, you can buff Succession Striker damage. It will not be able to use the damage effectively. Agree. Area of effect and speed are massive factors, even more so than damage numbers itself that almost never get changed when balancing. In the current year, the best way to play is not to even attempt CC at all, but to just dump damage on your enemy. Exactly. Death is the best CC, and that is why our best player is playing Succession Sage. Well, what'd you catch him with? Death. And then I followed it up with more death. It is what it is. And force them to play passively / run away from you. Yep. When I don't need to go for CC, I do not need to focus on many things that combo classes do. I find it funny that a Succession Sage goes, combo classes. Imagine. Fucking like just one shot somebody. Imagine, dude. True. These things include getting someone to use their V, getting someone to use their well-tended elixirs, staying in place to do full combos with someone on the floor. Instead, I can just focus on dropping their health bar, where even if they do get a CC on me, a lot of the time they will be too low HP to go for a kill, or maybe just die when I stand up. Yeah, no, I completely agree. That is the meta, 100%. He didn't really suggest a solution here, though. He just kind of stated it. Most people, when they talk about damage in BDO and they don't know what they're talking about, they're like, I think that you should be able to stand up from a combo. Be careful what you wish for. Because if you get to stand up from a combo, what you're effectively going to do is you're going to super hard buff frontline tanks. So much so that you're not going to be able to kill anyone. Because everyone's going to play Succession Drakania, everyone's going to play Succession Berserker, everyone's going to play Awakening Valkyrie, and you're never going to be able to kill them. You just like there's just going to be an unkillable monster.
You just have to hypnotize PA to fix the game using your bald head. Easy fix. JK love UXD.
Thanks, Kira. I appreciate that. You know, like it's like, what do you want me to do? Just intermittently, you know what I mean? And just keep talking. How do you think this works? Yeah, so I mean, I would agree with his assessment here. My solution in PvP, and as I've gotten better at PvP over the last few weeks here, because I used to be a very large scale oriented player. I was a shot caller, so I understand PvP conceptually. I understand where classes fit in the puzzle and like what their role is in PvP. I'm one of the thinkers, right? I was mechanically, I used to be really good at PvP a long time ago, so like, you know, take that for what it's worth. I did top frag and Legatum a few times, but like, I wouldn't say that necessarily makes me good at PvP. But like, I was good at DK back in the day, but like it's been years since I've been a good PvP player. So as of recently, I've been trying to get better at PvP, like a lot better. So I've been practicing in Solare and Battle Arena and stuff. You guys may have seen me around. I usually practice off stream. That being said, what I have learned in 1v1 situations and in 3v3 situations is that it's better to just absolutely turbo fuck people with damage. And don't even, like, I'm not looking for a CC. I'm just trying to get someone to, like, half health. Or lower. And then they just can't trade with me anymore. And then I can just go in and belligerently kill them. It is what it is. I'm not... And then when they do get CC'd, it's over. Right? If I'm full health and I get CC'd in Solare, I might stand up. But, like, the trick is to get somebody low and then CC them. So I feel like I'm constantly fishing for damage. I would agree with this. The solution is not to decrease damage. I think the solution is not to necessarily decrease damage as a whole. I think the solution is to decrease ranged damage. I think ranged damage needs to be brought down a notch. I think that, and the way you do this is not even adjusting the numbers on the skill. I think that you make frontal guards relevant. I think that if you make frontal guards relevant, so many classes can actually be effectively played. If you could use a frontal guard for what you're supposed to be using it for, which in this case is, okay, I'm going to block incoming damage so that the people behind me can heal back up or funnel their BSR or whatever in large scale PvP, right? That used to be what people did in like 2018 or so. Like people used to stand out. It's like, get in front. Valkyries get in front, block the range damage. Valkyries get in front, block the range damage. Like they're all blocking range damage so that the rest of us can like get our health back and get ready, like get organized and ready to go. But like Nowadays, it's Valkyries get in front and they're like, fuck that. But like, they look at me like, you're crazy right now, bro. Because like, they step out in front and an archer's just like, who mega lol? And they just kill their frontal guard immediately. Like, frontal guards are basically irrelevant in PvP. Adding frontal guards to PvP is like, for large scale purposes, is fucking dumb. Because you're basically unprotected. And that's the fact. You're basically unprotected in a frontal guard in large scale PvP. It is what it is. Like, you can use them intermittently when there's nothing going on and you're just trying to block range damage a little bit. But like, the second you get hit with anything, oh, it's time to back up. Like, it shouldn't be like that, especially for like the big block classes. You should like heavily buff their frontal guards so that they can do their job. The problem is that means in 1v1 and 3v3, or I guess 1v1s particularly, which no one gives a shit about, it's going to make block classes basically fucking unkillable for anyone that doesn't have a grab. And that's, I'm okay. As someone that doesn't have a grab, I don't fucking care. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. Like, it would make the rest of the game so much better that I don't even fucking care. I would just swap servers. It is what it is. In 3v3s, you could get around it because you're probably going to have a grab. But like, buffing frontal guards is something that I think probably solves the majority of the damage issues with the game currently, especially in large scale. That way that, again, classes with frontal guarded super armor can actually use what makes their class really strong, right? And do what they're supposed to be doing. Give Shai's an ankle bite grab? No. You need to give Shai the fucking Hulk grab, where the Shai grabs someone by the ankle and then tosses them around like Loki in the Avengers. I would pay good fucking money to see Wutaru tossing Huntler around like a fucking animal. That would be so crazy. All right. Grabs. Some grabs are massively stronger than other grabs. You guys have grabs? Some grabs are massively stronger than other grabs due to the gameplay style and ease of use. Being ranged or having a grab confirm skill that links easily into the grab is a big player in this regard. Rampaging Predator into Massive Suppression on Striker. Lava Piercer into Rock Smasher on Berserker. Rock Smash on Berserker. Solar Flare into Takedown on Waller. Bro, I say this every time. Hey, Hands, what's your strategy against Dark Knight? I'm in the Solar Flare and then I'm in the grab down. Oh. Well, Zerodin, what's your strategy against Witch? I'm Solar Flare and then I'm in the grab down. Alright, like, it's way too fucking powerful, bro. And there's, like he said, there's a lot of skills like this that like combo into the grabs, and it's just the best initiate in the whole game. And there's no reason on that class to initiate with any other thing. If you can get this off, there's no reason to do anything else other than to just try to be flashy, right? Like, most people are just going to initiate with Rock Smash, with Lava Piercer into Rock Smash on Berserker, like he said, or that iframe into grab on Guardian. I don't know what the iframe's called. Moonlight Strike into Soren Kick on Tamer. Blanc Jump grab on Ninja and Kunoichi. I agree. Nerf Kuno. Fuck that class. I'm just kidding. I would slow down or make all these not linked as easily. Grab, ignore, passive should also be... I think this is a great suggestion. I think this is super great. I think that this brings grabs. People always complain about not having a grab. I think that nerfing the ability to like get the grab off is a W. Especially for the non-grab classes that have no fucking counterplay to being block jump grabbed, other than to just run away, right? Okay, I just have to run, right? Oh, here comes the warrior. I have to TP away because he's just gonna solo flag grab me. Like, it's really annoying. I like it. This is a good suggestion. Shai, fuck this class, dude. I hope he says fuck this class. This class ruined the best in guild tournament. Somehow unnerfed for 16 months. Preach! Preach! Mandatory class in all forms of PvP outside of 1v1. Fuck these people, dude. Like, I'm sorry, this class. This class adds 100+ gear score as well as max resist and reduces your ultimate cooldown by 75% for your entire team. Anyone PvPing without this class around them is wasting their time. True. 60-second buffs in a game where you kill in 2 to 3 skills and fights rarely lasting half of that makes zero sense and requires zero thought behind them. Nerf the buffs and debuffs heavily and make it a more active support class. True. Fucking true. Shut up, Garnier. You belong in the dumpster. Hello, Ellie. The rightful winner of the most dedicated life skiller award. Garnier is a filthy grinder. He grinded for too long. Ellie dedicated to life skilling forever. I completely agree with this. Completely agree. Shai's buffs need to be nerfed hard. Like in half. Like literally 50% of what they currently are. But you give them more active ways to help people. Give them more active ways to support people. Make them more proactive, right? If to think about this, it would be more of a Leona situation instead of Soraka. Okay, if you know League of Legends, right? Make a proactive support instead of a reactive. Like Shai runs in and can pound the ground like Alistar and then like knock a bunch of people up, or can really land like a monster CC. You know what I mean? Like you
Congrats
can
getting T10 Dine. DUCKASS lol.
Very funny. Thanks so much, Ettins. Yeah, no, like I think that Shai's being able to surf in on their boomerang and then smash the ground like the Hulk and like bounce a bunch of people away from them or something would be really cool, right? Like it gives them the ability to control the terrain, right? Or the ability to, like, you can make their bubble, but you could also give them like a Thunderdome, or like an arena. You could have them like dive in and like pull up a bunch of terrain around them, and then nobody can leave unless you like jump over it or something. Like they have to use one of their verticality skills to get over the top of it. You know what I mean? And like try to trap a bunch of players in there, but incoming damage will still hit them. It's different than bubble. Like there's a lot of stuff they could do with Shai. There's a massive amount of things that they could do with Shai to make it a much more proactive class and not just be a mindless buff bot. And you don't have me literally screaming. You know what? We're going to pull it up. We're going to pull it up. I'm literally going to pull the clip up. You think I fucking won't? Is it this one? Oh, it's the top clip in the last 30 days.
Stop.
Here's our Shai right here. This is how important this class is. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm...
Clear the high grounds. Clear the high grounds. Good. Back them up.
Go to the ball.
Slow clear. Slow.
This is how important Shai buffs are. That like you have to be with us or we're weaker. You understand? You have to be with it. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm gonna buff you with the flag. Wait, that way the buffs are just off of us by the time we reach the fight? Okay, sure, but at least we're all buffed. You know what I mean? Oh, wait, you're not at the flag. You're standing between the flag and the offense ball, which means you're fucking useless. And we only have 3 of you. And as Divios said, he's not wrong. You must have Shais, especially in large-scale PvP, or you're fucking griefing. You're a buff bot. You are good. Let me make this very clear to the Shais. You are good for nothing but this. Nothing but buffing the rest of us, okay? That's your fucking job right now. And what I'm trying to say is they should make it not that way. They should make it not that way. It should be a much more active support class. I completely agree with Divios on this. Nerf the buffs so that the buffs are still very impactful, but like they don't feel necessary, you know, as much. Like nerf the buffs really hard and then give them a bunch of active support abilities that make the class engaging. Like, holy shit, dude. It's just a buff bot right now, bro. You could make the best play. You could have the best bubble in the entire world. And it would all be for nothing because you forgot to buff everyone before we went in. And we're all fucking dead because the enemy is Shai buffed. Like, it is what it is. Asian Bunny enjoy. Shut up. Is she streaming right now? Why do you follow? Shut up! We all know why I follow Asian Bunny. You act like you're not following her. Fuck on it. That's the last time I pull up Twitch. The last time I pull it up. Show second monitor. No. It is an invasion of privacy and I won't. I shan't. Valkyrie gives insane buffs constantly for 2 years despite being the strongest class in the game in all forms of PvP. And being mandatory in small scale to the SA heal. SA heal has existed for 2 years. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Valkyrie can literally give super armor to her allies when she heals. The skill has a 30-second cooldown and allows for 0 counterplay, as well as being the only true counter to grab. 60-second buffs in game where you kill 2 to 3 skills, and fights rarely lasting half of that makes 0 sense and requires 0 thought behind them. Remove SA buff from their heal, and either increase the CD on their healing abilities or reduce the amount they heal. I think that the biggest problem with Valkyrie is that it's an incredibly difficult class. They need to simplify the class down, like Awakening. They need to simplify Awakening Valkyrie down to where Succession is, and then they can do these nerfs. I think that, like, because of the skill it requires to play this in, like, large scale, there's only... Dude, I can count on one hand probably the amount of Valkyries that can actually make... What he's saying for a high-level Valkyrie is absolutely true. What he's saying for a really high-level Valkyrie is absolutely true. But I'm being honest with you, most Valkyries, they suck. Most Valkyries fucking suck. They don't even know what purification does. Like, they actually can't even use it. They're not using their SA heal for the SA or anything, but good Valkyries, he's absolutely right. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Good Valkyries are ridiculous. What you doing
with your other hand blue?
Right here. God. I would say that you can do these nerfs if you make the class way easier. You got to make the class way easier and do these nerfs. You got to do them together, though. Because if you just nerf it, well, then you're just nerfing the high-end players, and the low-end players become even fucking worse. The low-end players become somehow even worse at the game. Like, so I think that they need to do both. I would agree with this assessment, but, like, I really do think they need to make the class a lot easier. It's just too complicated for a lot of players. It's just way too hard. Archer Ranger. Oh, God, where do I fucking start with these losers? Movement and damage buff to a point that it's uncounterable, besides closing render distance on the fastest classes in the video game. Yeah, that's the solution, is to just not let them see you before you kill them. These changes were to help in Solare, and the classes have only gotten worse as a result due to everyone else getting small-scale centered changes. If you actually would like these classes to be better in Solare, you must nerf their large scale. Agree. Reduce the range damage and speed to make them stronger in close range situations. No, I don't think that they can do this necessarily. Again, like, the solution for this, if you can't make them stronger in close range situations, because in close range situations, they're dead. Like, it doesn't matter how much you buff them in the close range. They're never going to beat a ninja. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, they're too squishy. Or, like, I don't know, they have protections, but you just get on top of them and they die. So, like, I don't think that necessarily reducing their range is necessarily as important as just making frontal guards actually relevant. If you made frontal guards relevant, their damage would not be as much of a factor. Still important, but, like, they would have to hit you during super armors and stuff, right? They wouldn't just be unable to immediately break your block. Like, I think that frontal guards as a rule are they just need to be buffed. I think that is the solution here. I don't know if reducing their damage or speed necessarily is the correct choice, because this is all these classes really have. Sage. Succession Sage kit allows for 0 counterplay. Who are you and what have you done with Divios? I don't think I've ever seen a top-end player just so blatantly, brazenly admit that their class is just fucking stupid. If I go to Armin right now, and I go, Armin, how fucking busted is Ninja? I am literally, I could get up and walk away from my fucking computer, take a nap, then take a shower, come back, put my fucking headset on, and he would still only be on his 3rd bullet point of the 2nd part of the fucking Homer-sized epic novel that he's telling me about how fucking Ninja is not busted. All right? I've never seen someone literally just come out and be like, yeah, it's busted as fuck. Like, Succession Sage kit allows for 0 counterplay besides damage trading. Sage spends 80% of his gameplay just invisible, forcing all enemies to rely on their minimap to know where the one-hit skill SACC demon is about to pop out from. Holy shit. Holy shit. Preaching right now. True. My solution is to TP away, because usually they can't reach me before I have swapped servers. This class also happens to be one of the best damage trading classes in the game. Every skill he casts is automatically super armor due to a rift chain or both. Yep. If the skill also has a frontal guard on it. Yeah, so he could be super armor and frontal guard because of how rift chain works, and it protects all of his skills. He's just like a super crazy protected class, and it allows him to trade just better than everyone else does. As long as the optimization SA buff and rift chain SA are still a thing, he will forever be a feast or famine class. If his numbers are good, he will be insane. If his numbers are not good, he will be terrible. Just like Evelyn was in League. Yep. Absolutely. When Succession Sage came out, people joked about being able to either pocket void gateways or have frontal guards on it. Okay. Never in their wildest dreams did they ever imagine having both on a still 6 seconds after the rift chain movement cooldown. Remove super armor linger mechanics and make the class more able to keep up with current class speeds. Did you see it? Did you see it at the end there? Buff it. Buff it. But I like what he did, though. True to his word, he said they should nerf and buff equally. I would agree with him. You can help some of its stamina issues, sure, if you make it less protected. Like a lot less protected. Sure. I agree. Oh, he's right. Because you nerf it and you buff it. That's balance. This is what balance tastes like. Witch and Wizard. Turns out giving a support team-based class infinitely rotating range damage slow CCs makes it a very fun and interactive gameplay cycle where they must die first or you immediately lose. I agree. It is fun. This is what fun feels like. This class should be able to better fend for itself, but be weaker from range. Even when as a melee... You mean like Awakening? Even when you as a melee player finally close the gap in uncapped PvP, they simply out-trade you with Blizzard and then go back to trading range. This class needs to have its own identity, and the Succession version of the class needs to either go more support and lose range or drop a lot of its support capabilities in its current state. Agree! I said this when Succession came out. I was like, bro, why does Suck Staff have just as much support capability as Awakening does? And they have all the other bells and whistles. That's why Succession has always been better than Awakening. It's not even fucking remotely close. Like, Awakening has to choose. You have to get close to do your damage, but you also have a lot of support capabilities. Like you also don't have very much mobility. Succession, you have all the mobility in the world. You have all the range in the world. I don't have to get close, and I don't have to choose. I have all the support capabilities as well. Completely agree. The Succession kit is way overloaded. They need to choose. You can either be a duelist that fights from range with a split TP, or you can be the support, like, battle mage style class in Awakening. Fucking agree, dude. The Succession staff is just way too fucking good. Way too fucking good. And again, I would agree with this nerf instead of nerfing the slows. I think the slows are like the smallest part about what make Succession staff like crazy bad. Yeah, no, I completely agree with this. And this also tells me that he has very good insight into what staff is struggling with in general. It's just really good. Because I've felt this at heart for a very long time. And I preached it when Succession came out. But like, damn, dude. Like, I just hate as an Awakening. Like, there's no... like, Awakening wins. It's just like, all right, you're trading away your mobility. You're trading away your range pressure. You're trading away all this other stuff. And damage. And what do you get for it? Oh, you get your class buff. Gives your defensive stats to allies. But not in capped because they can't go over the cap. Fuck you, I guess. It's really annoying. Awakening Wizard's still bad in PvP. Just kill them and move on. I wouldn't necessarily say... wouldn't necessarily say it's bad, is if you compare it to Succession Wizard, it's not even a contest, right? Succession Wizard is better in 1v1, 3v3, large scale. Solare, doesn't matter. Arsha, doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Like, Awakening just is worse. You could say Awakening Wizard is good, but not when you compare it to Succession, right? Like, it is what it is. I completely fucking agree. Lahn, Awakening, LOL. All right. Succession Lahn relies on server lag and mouse movement abuse to do almost anything. The class is super melee-based SA without this and without the surprise factor of not loading on the enemy's screen, it would not do well in most situations. No, I think that being a flanking assassin has a lot to do with people not seeing you coming. You could say the same thing for every single flanking assassin in the game. They're a lot less like relevant if you can see them coming. That's part of the reason that your Sage argument held up. You can't see them coming, right? Lahns, I think, are fine because like being able to approach from above is like their thing. Like, I think the rest of their kit is fine, but like, yeah, if you take the surprise factor away from any of the assassin classes, it's gonna be rough. I do agree that Awakening is kind of a fucking LOL. Unless it's a 1v1 situation. Right? Drakania. Oh no. Oh god. How much time do you have? We wanted to see what it takes for a melee class to be strong in large scale in 2023. So we made Guardian. So we made Guardian, then we made it heal for 50% HP instead of 200 and gave it Awakening Nova Suck Zerker movement. The fact this class has existed without nerfs for a year now is absurd. Agree. Blue, are you talking about Succession or Awakening? Yes. Succession particularly is just... what the way he frames it here, Succession has been the best frontline class in the game since it came out. Just period dot. It's just the best frontline class in the game. It's got the most regeneration on all of its skills. It does a shitload of damage. It can stay in the fight forever. It doesn't even need to disengage to heal. And then if you look over at Awakening Drakania is the best at its job too. It's the best flanking assassin in the game. Because again, it's got the most regeneration. It can approach from off screen without you seeing it. Both specs of Drakania are like, what the fuck is this? Although, I would nerf Awakening Drakania and I would buff the other tanks in the game to Succession Drakania's strength. Let's see. This class moves at the speed of light. So yeah, this is Awakening now he's talking about. Reduce the movement speed, stamina-less movement tech, and make it heal much less. Agree. Fuck Awakening Drakania. Fuck Awakening Drakania. That class is way too fucking strong. Way too fucking good. Like, it heals infinitely. That class is ridiculous. Like... oh my goodness. Succession Drakania, I think you keep it where it is and then just buff the other class. Suck Drak is strong, but it's only strong because you're comparing it to the other dog shit fucking frontline classes in the game. Like, I can't believe that class hasn't been nerfed. It's actually crazy to me. As Berserker, this class has been the balanced nightmare for many years in both Awakening and Succession. On one hand, Succession Berserker has been allowed to permanently run extremely fast / desync while being stamina passive, while being stamina positive while doing it for 3 years now. This class has been only useful has had the only useful 200% ability for years, while every single other 200% is only even put in the game to be used as the end of class trailer or the end of the class trailer. Yes. It's used as a montage skill, like a super cool skill that, like, you know, like looks really cool for like the montages and stuff. And like Zerker is they said that, oh well, 200% are like some classes are good and some classes are bad. If by some classes you mean exactly Berserker and by other classes you mean everybody the fuck else, then yes, some are good and some are bad. Like, the problem is they're in a state where, like, if they nerf the 200% on Zerker, it becomes a lot less. Well, as long as the 100% is fine, it would still be useful in large scale. On the other hand, Awakening, Berserker has infinite tools and abuses mouse movement more than nearly any class in the video game. Mouse movement is very skilled at first when learning it, but once you are good at fighting other players, it is uncounterable and forces you to iframe the movement they leave on the ground because you know they will show up, or they will not show up correctly on your screen. Lava Piercer, Giant Leap, Shooting Mobility, giving Succession stamina usage on a lot of skills, removes the mouse and then remove the mouse movement from both and make the class work better without relying on desync server lag. Hot take. Remove mouse movement. Sorry, guys. Remove mouse movement from the game. Sorry. It is what it is. He's absolutely right. The counterplay in PvP is just not there. Well, how am I supposed to know where the goddamn person is teleporting if they could just mouse move the other way? It makes it more of a guessing game. You know what I mean? Like, I know that that's going to make a lot of people angry, but they just need to remove mouse to move from the game. At least in PvP. It's just not functional. Like, it also makes PvP much more complex than a new player can even wrap their head around. And that's not even just for the new players. Bro, the skill ceiling on these classes is like fucking infinite. You don't also need to have a layer of mouse movement on top of everything else that players have to learn to be like ridiculously good at the game. Nova. I believe this is the worst overall design class in both specs. I've been saying this forever. Succession Nova needs a complete... I know he said no reworks. That class needs to be fucking retouched from top to bottom. Top to bottom, the passives need to be looked at again. The tankiness out it needs to be looked at again. All of it needs to be looked at. It's such a cool, like, looking thematic, and that's where it stops. Succession Nova is not functional. Succession Nova sucks in PvE. How the fuck did Suck Nova not get any PvE buffs? Is this a joke? When the buffs came out, how did Suck Nova not get any PvP buffs?
Hey Blue, sorry,
Ridiculous.
I haven't been here much, working 12 hours days every day from now till March 4th. Miss your blad head.
No problem, Z-Clicks. Love you, buddy. I hope... Don't burn yourself out now. So, like, I completely agree. Succession Nova needs to be reworked top to bottom. It's horrendously designed. It's the worst design class in the whole game. Awakening Nova is fixable. I can fix her. Awakening Nova is fixable. Aside from having to do your chores and stuff, like, you slow the class down a little bit. Like there's things you could adjust about Awakening Nova that I feel would keep the identity of the class, but like give it counterplay. Succession Nova, you just need to just redo it. Just the whole thing needs to be reworked. But let's see what he has to say. Awakening Nova, much like Succession, relies heavily on desync of the server and abusing the super armor buff that the class gets when entering Excel mode. There is no counterplay to this besides just trying to survive and run away until it ends versus the fastest class in the video game. Agree. But I think that this can be adjusted. I think that this is, yes, he's absolutely right. That can be adjusted though. Succession Nova, the most effective playstyle is to just block and slow while staying near people to spawn your gargoyle and CC enemies. Yeah, so I am going to enact most Succession Novas in AOS. All right? Okay, boys, the match is starting. We all ready to go? Okay, you got your speed spell? Okay, let's do this. Okay, did we win? Okay, I'm queuing up again. Like, literally, though. The class is literally just stand and block. Actually could go get a cup of hot cocoa. Unironically. Is to stand there and slow people staying near you. Okay, we got that. Both specs of this class I personally would change massively, as I cannot see any way to fix this class. Okay, what would you do? Reduce Awakening Nova's speed, yep. And make her more able to fight around, to be around the fight without desyncing around everywhere. And then make Succession Nova more ability based and have the pets be much more damage pressure threat instead of CC, while they just stand and block. Yeah, I think that only fixes like some of the problems though with Succession. I think Succession as a whole, they designed this really cool, think about this practically, guys. This really cool tower shield block class where you've got a mace and shit, where I'm gonna be a frontline terror, and Archer's just like, stop it, you kid. Right? Like, this class literally revolves around frontal guards. And like, the range damage in the game is so powerful that it can't revolve around the one thing that it's actually just super good at, or it's supposed to be super good at. It's just, nobody's ever said really cool tower shield block class in nobody in the history of BDO. That's not true. I think there are Nova maids in the chat that would disagree with you. I think that people love the idea of a tower shield. She's all SA, which is bad, giga bad for tanking. Exactly. And on top of this, and I'm getting this, so her frontal guard is irrelevant, which is supposed to be central to the kit as a whole, right? She's supposed to be this frontline like wall of a tank, right? The frontal guard is irrelevant. Add on top of this that she has super armor and skills when she comes out of block, but even then, she loses health and she has no regenerative capability at all. Very little to no regenerative capability at all. It is over. You get low on health, it's please God heal me or you are dead. It's so bad. It is so fundamentally bad in any regard. It's bad to play against in like 1v1s. It's bad to play against in 3v3s because it's not fun for either side. It's really bad in large scale PvP. It's arguably the second or third worst class in the game in large scale PvP, right next to Succession Striker and a literal pile of dog shit. Like, crazy. Absolutely crazy. They need to do so much with Nova. It just needs to be rethought. At least Succession does. Awakening, I think they could technically adjust and make it reasonable. Striker Mystic. These classes are supposedly the evasion non-shield variant of Valkyrie Warrior. Well, they're bruisers. With no shield, they're innately tankier and get more super armor abilities. Yup, because frontal guards are useless. The tankiness has been a crutch, not allowing them to get changes to make them more interactive for a long time. I would drastically reduce the class's tankiness and in turn give them better aggressive tools to pressure enemies. Holy shit, that's a hot take. Due to the nature of the current game, they both get very hard super armor traded and cannot compete in larger fights, while being broken as shit in small scale and 3v3s whenever a Shai Valkyrie are not involved. Okay? Reduce the tankiness and super armors while giving them more options to keep up the class speed-wise and pressure enemies without damage, or with damage instead of just living. Succession Nova, Quincy says the Succession Nova is only useful in large scale for defense, i.e. castle defense. Let's go crazy with a Nova wall or defending base. That's useless. Even I would still rather like play a different class for like defending base. Like Shai is just better. Who cares? But like as far as Striker Mystic go, I fundamentally disagree. I think that their tankiness is important to them. And I think that like as he said, I'll cite him earlier in the document. He said you can't be good at everything. You can be good at a maximum of 2 of the 3 things. 1v1, 3v3, large scale PvP. Pick 2. Right? Striker and Mystic are good at 2. They are not good at 3. Right? They're not good at large scale PvP as a general rule. Awakening Striker is good at large scale PvP and should be nerfed. Here's a hot take. Honestly, they're so good in 1v1 and 3v3. I think if you give them more aggressive tools to pressure enemies, it's just going to make them more oppressive. In those cases, especially like Succession Striker and 1v1s. Whew, no one cares about 1v1s though, so I don't really want to talk about that too much. But like large scale and 3v3s, man. Like I think that Awakening should probably be nerfed. Reducing the tankiness and super armors, I don't know. Maybe you just reduce the damage. Like, they're supposed to be the bruiser class. They do trade kind of poorly into other classes, but they have a grab. They don't have to trade. They grab. Like in small scale like that. So like, I don't know. I don't think that reducing their tankiness. I think that this is a fundamental aspect of their like identity. And if you take this away from them, they're useless. Like they're literally fucking useless. If they can't tank anything, you're just garbage. Now I will say Awakening Mystic is the exception. She needs to be given something. Make it so that Awakening Mystic can summon a giant tidal wave that knocks enemies up for like a second and it just kind of washes through like a Nami wave in large scale PvP. That's like her ultimate or something. Make her a funnel class. That would be cool. You know, like it would be like, or does a big debuff? Yeah, I could do that too, right? Like Awakening Mystic should be given more relevancy because it's just a bad class right now. Awakening Mystic does need more damage. I would agree, a little bit more damage, not a lot, because she's already, the kid is overloaded. You guys don't remember. I remember because I was there. I was there for the genocide of my people, and I say my people because I was playing Dark Knight. Okay, when Mystic released. You guys know nothing of it. We used to be everywhere. We used to run this game. The Dark Knights. And then Mystic released. And we thought we were some hot shit. And it was like an unstoppable force meeting an extremely movable object. Because not only did Mystic release, but they also nerfed Dark Knight at the same time. The purge of my people from the server. I loved it because I got all of my boss weapons off the marketplace because people panic rerolled, but it was horrible. Mystic's kit, if you give it too much damage, it will return to that state where it is just the best at everything that it does, no matter what. So you can't give it too much damage. You have to be very delicate about adding damage to Awakening Mystic because the kit already has a vacuum. It's already got slows coming out of its ass. It's got AoEs. It's got tankiness. It's got the mobility. It's got the protections. It's got what it needs, right? You got to be careful about giving Awakening Mystic damage. That's why I said, okay, you could give it a little bit more utility. Like I would stray away from damage in most cases. I fear the dark times. I fear you guys have no idea. You guys don't know what it's like. Nobody here knows, okay? Oh, they have... The amount of damage that you do to a Mystic today is 50% more than when she released. 50%. Okay? Imagine, and that's not taking into account all of the buffs to damage that you've gotten on your class. This is just the percent class modifier. This is literally just the modifier, okay? This has nothing to do with like the class's innate tankiness that they've buffed over the years, or that they've had to nerf over the years as well, and then your class's damage, which they have buffed over the years. And it's not even just DKs. It's like anyone that does magic damage or just suffers from being able to hit evasion. It went from being the magic damage like cancel like class to just being everyone. So, like, I'd say it's in a better spot now, but I think if you reduce their tankiness, they're useless. I think if you... Yeah, I think this is just fundamental to their class. I think they're supposed to be like a frontline bruiser, so I disagree there, but... Okay, Sorceress. The #1 example of what happens when you buff movement. This class has gotten buffed to the point it is unfightable in close quarters. Yeah, my solution for Sorc is to double TP away, speed spell, put my weapons away, and continue running. They will never catch up again. The Dream of Doom will miss, and they will never catch me again. You can almost hear them in the background. Just like, bro, they're just trying to keep up back there, bro. That's the only thing that I can do, because you cannot stand and fight her. She'll kill you. Anytime you feel forced to fight this class, there is zero enjoyment just throwing skills into the abyss and praying and losing damage trace to her. This class has almost everything going for her, but a lack of movement does not allow her to play the game in the current environment. She's a balancing nightmare because if she gets movement now and she's impossible to beat. Oh, wait, no. If she gets movement now, she'll be impossible to beat. But keep her this slow and she's just frustrating to play with most of the time. Yeah, the solution in large scale is to just move past them. TLDR, I love this game. I'm not quitting. Far from it. I'm addicted. But geez, they are making it hard to want to PvP and they have no idea where they're going to want to go with it. If you read all this, hats off to you. I love you too, Divios. And Divios is in the audience right now, I think. So, one, I'm going to give him a shout out, and then I want to give some thoughts here. I said this at the start when we started. Divios, I did see a clip of you. Somebody sent me a clip of you talking about how you might not do PvP anymore. Here's the link to the document. You guys should cycle it around. We need to get as much visibility on this as possible. I will probably release it in a reaction video as well. Roll the clip. I don't know who sent it to me. It was like a standalone clip. But like it was of him saying that like he doesn't want to PvP anymore, and that like he's looking at moving away from PvP. And as a content creator, I have to advise you that that is a bad idea. You might be unhappy with PvP, but even saying that you're going to move away from PvP is going to hurt you. And I'm saying that it's like you might not necessarily want to do content creation full time, and that's great and everything. But like also, I know it's something that you really enjoy. And I think that there is some people that would definitely watch you, obviously, even if you were just doing PvE and you quit PvP altogether. However, I think a fundamental reason why people love you and why you're such a pillar of the community is your PvP. And I think that it would really hurt your ability to be a content creator if you didn't do PvP. I'm just going to put that out there. I want to see you succeed. And so like, I'm another content creator. And so like this document set aside, I want to see you succeed. I would not do that. I would just minimize your PvP as much as possible. And then maybe you could collab with me or other streamers to try to diversify your content. If you want advice on that, I can help you. But like, I would not quit PvP. It's not a good idea. He said he's not quitting the game, which I believe. We all love BDO. But like, I would not quit PvP is not a good idea. Just take PvP less seriously. No. I think that a reason that people love Divios is because he sweats his fucking balls off in PvP. No one gives this shit. If you don't give a fuck about what you're doing on screen, guess what? No one gives a fuck about watching you. Part of the reason people watch me is because I'm so passionate about everything that I'm doing all the time. Whether I'm screaming at someone in large scale PvP or I'm using the audience to do like the BDO community awards, whatever, you got to be passionate about what you're doing. And there's no reason to be shameful about that. No, like we want to see you care. Casual players, they don't have to care. But like if you're like a top end player, like we want to see him sweat. We want to see him go in because we can't fucking do it. I want to snuggle up and shoutcast it. You know what I mean? I just want to sit. Ooh, look at that, bro. That was clean. You know what I mean? That's, I don't know. It is what it is. It's just my honest take on the, on seeing that clip. As far as the Google Doc goes, there were a lot of takes that I absolutely loved. There were a few that I disagree with, but it is what it is. On the whole, I think that if we got the changes that he proposed in this Google Doc, PvP would be way better off. Even though I disagree with like, you know, a decent amount of the takes in the doc, I think that absolutely we would be better off. Wow, there's 60 viewers on this document right now. It's actually just crazy. Holy woo! Divios wrote this? Yes, this is Divios. So this will go up on YouTube as a reaction video, guys. I really suggest that you pass it around. Like the doc is probably more difficult to get to Pearl Abyss. I'm going to be honest. Than a video. It's hard enough to get them to hear things. You need to pass the doc around for sure. Pass Divios' name around. Make sure you give him a follow, support him. But you should probably pass the video around too, because like that's usually what they fucking, if they're gonna listen to something, it's gonna be like a visual medium. I don't like, usually they just, I don't know, like they're like, translate to Korean, fuck that. Physically print and mail it. They'll just burn it. Yeah, PA can't read. Well, most BDO players can't fucking read. Part of the reason I just sat here and read it to everyone is because more players will now have seen it. Like, because y'all would have fucking opened this shit, seen the 1 of 7 scroll bar on this left side, and been like, yeah, fuck that. Yeah, sure, I agree. And you would have been whatever. It would have been whatever. You wouldn't have fucking cared. because no one wants to fucking read a 7-page document, but I'll read it to you, and then it will get more visibility. As it should. There are good takes in here. Okay. Oh, here it is.
Changes right now. This is just like I just in this day and age I don't really care. I'm at the point where I don't really care about PvP, and this is like the last thing this is my Moreland video right now. It's not like I'm quitting the game, but the PvP side, I'm quitting the PvP side of it at this point. Like it's most of it's not fun.
All right. And that's our boys' take here. That's the clip I was referring to right there. It's doomed. Yeah, I mean, when a big figure of the PvP community comes out and says something like that, you got to take it seriously. You know, you take that kind of hard.